Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for welcoming me onto your screens or onto your headphones, depending on how you're watching this. I'm Eddie, and this is The Rollback. Folks, I'm here to talk to you today about Blue Beetle, aka We Got One. The synopsis. Jaime Reyes, played by Zolo Maridonia. He's a young kid, just got back from college, joins his family, ends up being chosen by a world-destroying weapon known as the Scarab, turning him into the Blue Beetle. Along the way, he's set to deal with a corrupt organization, a corrupt company, and Cord Industries, set to figure out his destiny with the Scarab, along with figuring out his way in life. So this movie, I think it's interesting. Apparently, according to Chema, in Mexico, it was marketed as the first big Hispanic superhero film, whereas here in the US, what marketing there was, they didn't really market the whole Hispanic aspect. They just said new superhero, look at this guy. Which I think is a shame, because this movie, it feels, and I understand, maybe if only to me, this movie feels like a moment to me. It feels like a moment in the same way that like Black Panther or Wonder Woman were. This is a big first. And I'm so excited by it. Because we finally have a Hispanic superhero film. We finally have one for us. And that matters, because also the Angel Soto, depending on how you want to pronounce his name, the director behind this film, you can feel the love that went into crafting this film in every aspect and every dynamic. There's a great scene that just is so quintessential to the young Hispanic thing. When Jaime gets back from college, the first thing he wants to do is go get food, go get some tacos, because that's what you do when you're Hispanic and you leave home. Because whether you're from California or from the Valley, where we live, any of my cousins that went away for college, as soon as they get back, the very first thing is they're eating either their mother's food, their grandmother's food, or they're going to go get some tacos from a local taqueria, a good one. Because you miss home. That's what home tastes like. And the fact that they from that part meant the world to me, because it told me that they crafted this film with a love. There's a lot of topical stuff that come from our culture that's enriched in this film. And I mean all of that in the best way possible. But it doesn't feel like it's isolating people that aren't from our culture. It feels like it's trying to show this is what we're like. Not in a standoffish way, but more in an inclusivity way. I also want to give a massive shout out to Zolo himself, because the kid plays Jaime Reyes so well. In so many ways, he's emotional, he's strong, but he doesn't want this. He initially doesn't want to be a hero. He's trying to figure out how to get this thing off of him. But he ends up embracing his role, and he pulls a complete 180, because at the beginning of the film, he doesn't want to kill, he doesn't want to fight. But by the end, after the passing of a loved one, he's ready to kill Carapax. But that's where the Scarab itself pulls this great 180, telling Jaime Reyes, we're not killers. When the whole film, it's trying to murder. But finally, when they sync up and become one in a symbiotic state, close to kind of like what Venom has, I guess, with Eddie Brock, she sees from his point of view why he values life and prevents him from making a mistake that probably would have haunted him forever. And it's a great movie all the way through. But it's not just Jaime that's great. It's also, I want to talk about his family, from his parents, his grandmother, his uncle, and his sister. If I can speak about the dad, the big relationship I thought was between him and his father. Now, bear in mind, in the Hispanic culture, you get different kinds of relationships, as with anyone else. But I find that there's typically one of two things. Either the father and the son don't see eye to eye, not necessarily combative, but they don't always agree on their outlook on the world. It's as the kid gets older that they begin to see eye to eye on several things. Either the father respects the young man for who he wants to be as an individual, or the kid begins to see, dad, that's why you wanted to kill me when I was young. I was stupid. I've had the privilege of having both with my dad. Love you. But yeah, that relationship that's on display here is great, because the father, he does what every Hispanic father does. He comforts his family and says, we're going to get through this. George Lopez has this line that is cliche but true. He says that we're a resilient people, that we get knocked down but we keep getting back up. And again, I know that's a cliche. That's a motivational poster. But it's fucking true. That's how we're raised. That's who we are as individuals. We get the shit kicked out of us, but we keep standing up. We are resilient people. We see obstacles and challenges, and we figure out how to overcome them. In every capacity, not just in film, but in every walk of life. Wherever there is a barrier between us and a job moving up in the world, moving somewhere, moving forward career-wise and personal-wise, bring it on. We will overcome as is. And I'm damn proud that this movie showed that aspect, but also showed his kind heart. At one point, everything you need to know is in one scene. When he tips a waiter 25%, and they're essentially broke. He's having heart issues, and they just lost the mechanic shop. What does that tell you about the kind of man that he is? And he raised Jaime. And even if we fast forward to a very strong emotional point where the family's house is essentially being raided in almost like what ICE does to some families. They're dragged out in this horrible, uncomfortable moment. They're trying to get away, and the daughter gets grabbed, and the father goes back for her. He gets knocked out. He's bleeding from his nose, from his mouth. And what does he do other than be concerned from his own life? No. He looks at his daughter and says, it's going to be okay, because that's what we do. Even in the face of fear, we tell ourselves, we're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. Because that's what we do. And I'm proud of that. And then we get the heartbreak of Jaime realizing his father's dead, seeing him in the afterlife, and an emotional moment that, I'll be honest with you, not many superhero films can get emotion out of me. I think the only time I've ever actually cried might have been Guardians of the Galaxy. And this. Because the relationship between a father and a son, and I'm not gonna bash on like the whole relationship between parents and children. Everyone is different, but I can speak at least to my case of the closeness between me and my father. So to see this instance of this poor kid losing his dad, having to come to terms with that and let go, that got me. That got me hard. And it hurts because you can see yourself in those shoes, in what's going on and what's happening. It was a very emotional moment that got me. And as far as I'm aware, it got a few other people too. And then, again, I want to talk about the family. George Lopez, the crazy uncle. We all have one. That's another stereotype that's actually kind of fucking true. We all have that one crazy uncle who, is a nutso conspiracy theorist that will go to bat for you at any time, that always willing to offer words of wisdom to you, that'll love you and care about you no matter what you do wrong. And that's also what a family does. I understand the cliche of family is my superpower, but in reality, at least in this case, kind of fucking is. Think about it. When Jaime Reyes' family is in danger, he masters the scarab, at least to some degree. When his family is again put in danger and he has to go save his sister, he steps it up. When Carapax is a threat that's about to murder more people that he loves, he gets in sync and almost gets super powered, if that makes sense. It's never a bad thing. But also, again, remember, his family goes to save him. That's not something unheard of. Also, isn't it a commonality that in every superhero film they always hide their secret identity from their loved ones because they can't know? In this movie, the family is a part of the fucking transformation from the very beginning when he gets the scarab. And the fact that he doesn't hide it from them, it's a family affair because that's what it is. Hell, let's go back to a moment earlier in the movie when Jaime is being dropped off for that job interview thing, and they're all there to cheer him on. That's what most Hispanic families are actually like. They celebrate all your achievements because your achievements are my achievements. And I mean that in the best possible way. I don't see anything negative with that. It's an honest to God portrayal of what we're like, because that is who we are. We celebrate things. We celebrated when I got my very first paycheck in my first job. We celebrated when my sister Evelyn got a B in math because she struggled at math. We celebrated my niece's half birthday. My sister Emily threw a 6-month birthday party. Yeah, she's that person. But we did it because that's who we are as a people. Our achievements mean the most to all of us. So, yeah, it's an accurate portrayal, and I'm damn proud of that. And I'm damn proud of this film. Regardless of the box office take, this is a movie that I am proud of. A movie that represents my people in a good light. Where we're not just the maid or the chef or the janitor. Where we're front and center. And that matters. Whatever your thoughts on representation, the fact is it matters. Whether you like it or not, it does. This movie was an important step in the right direction. And I hope and I have faith that James Gunn and Peter Safran will move forward with this franchise and make it a trilogy, because Blue Beetle has the capabilities and the possibilities to be DC's answer to Spider-Man. This young kid who's trying to figure out life, he can be that. The Blue Beetle can be a thing. Who the fuck ever thought Spider-Man would? But he became it. Put more resources behind it, and I guarantee you have a $1 billion franchise on your hands. I understand. Batman is the most popular superhero on the planet. So is Superman. They're both up there. Are you really going to be mad if you have place number 3 with Blue Beetle, DC? Invest. And I promise you, we will show up. But again, in case you can't tell, I genuinely loved this film. From beginning to end, I had a blast. I've already seen it once. I plan on seeing it a few more times. I plan on taking my whole family to go watch it as soon as they're healthy. Yeah, I can't wait for this one. I can't wait for my family to see it too. Yeah. That said, it's an A+ in my book. I actually think I might have enjoyed this film more than the Batman. I'll have to rewatch it again just to make sure. But yeah, oh wait, I didn't even comment. The action scenes are great on this. You know what? We're gonna keep going with this review. I'm sorry I have so much to say about this. The action scenes are tight and solid. Zoe brings all that experience from Cobra Kai to the mix, and it works and it shows. The suit is practical and looks amazing. The few CGI shots that we do see still look great, but I love how practical the suit is in hand-to-hand combat. I love the fact that we see the Buster Blade from Final Fantasy. We see Cloud's blade. He's an anime nerd, and I love that. I love the fact that we get a good grip on this kid and what he's like. And this feels like a solid first step. Granted, we didn't go into the origins of the Scarab, where it came from, why it came from in the Reach and all that. I don't mind that, because that's for future installments. Right now, let's just get Jaime Reyes right. And I believe that they did. They got him and his family. There's also a point where we notice the struggle of Jaime's family when his uncle brings up the fact that Jaime's father brought their whole family to the U.S. from Mexico and took on the leadership role. Not necessarily because he wanted to, but because he had to, because that's what unfortunately happens. Typically, when you become the head of the family, you don't want it, but it happens. It falls upon you to take care of everyone. It's a necessity that comes and falls onto us. You don't look for it, but it happens. In that same capacity, the idea of one generation striving to move forward, that way the next generation can build upon it, that's what the American dream is to us. That's what this film built. Jaime's dad had an auto shop. Jaime went to Gotham Law School to become a lawyer, building upon what his father was able to do for him. My grandfather drove a garbage truck in McAllen, in this town. My father now is a manager at a trucking company. I'm an academic advisor, potentially going to become a professor, building on top of what my father and my grandfather did before me. If you want to talk about my mother working in the fields, my grandparents on my mother's side worked in the fields. My mom becoming the head of CPS in the entire valley. And again, they raised 3 kids, 3 college-educated children that, for all my money, we are succeeding. And I have every intention that my kids and my nieces and nephews are all doing well. I am proud of what my family is accomplishing. And I'm damn proud of what this movie is able to accomplish and show. It's an outstanding film that should be seen by everyone. And if you haven't seen it yet, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to people around you. Have them watch this movie so they can see just what an incredible journey this is. Cut back real quick. Okay, I didn't even talk about some of the supporting cast. So besides the family and Jaime, I want to talk about Susan Sarandon as Victoria Cord. Yeah, Victoria Cord. I want to talk about Jenny Cord, and I want to talk about Carapax. In order, fuck this Nepo kid, Susan Sarandon's character. It's understandable that she was pissed because the dad gave the company to the boy instead of the girl. That's understandable. I'm not going to lie there. Other than that, though, what has she ever sacrificed? Because she keeps making a point, saying throughout the movie, it's for the greater good, sacrifice for the greater good and whatnot. What has she ever sacrificed? Because she's willing to throw away lives of several people of her henchmen, of her guinea pig, conveniently enough, a lot of Hispanic people. But she's never really willing to sacrifice anything herself, either herself or anything important that belongs to her. Whereas on the other side of the coin, Ted Kord's daughter, Jenny Kord, is trying to live up to the legacy of her father, being a humanitarian and helping people. Ted Kord used his technology to try and better the world. Yes, almost bankrupting Kord Industries at one point, but nonetheless his intentions were pure. Him taking on the mantle of Blue Beetle, the earlier version, the one that couldn't activate the Scarab. Jenny Kord's solid. Victoria Kord can go to hell. But Carapax, ooh, he is a juicy villain. Angel Soto initially went to WB with a pitch for a Bane film. And you can kind of see those elements when it comes to Carapax, and more importantly, his origin story, being a child soldier. He didn't want to be, he had to be. Going in reverse from being a general to being a soldier, to being a kid forced to hold a gun and shoot someone, to being a kid that watched his mother get killed, and being in re-education camps. The fact that this movie had the balls to do it, the fact that Angel Soto had the guts to take on that aspect of American history, bravo. Carapax he starts out as a generic villain, but turns into a villain who you feel sorry for, you feel pain for. In just a monologue, in just a montage that lasts 90 seconds, you feel for this poor soul, and all you want is for him to be okay. Carapax is a great villain who, in the end, teaches Jaime Reyes everything he shouldn't be. There's a great duality there of Jaime Reyes growing up in a loving home full of family, whereas Carapax had his family torn away and was only ever taught to hate and kill and murder. There's a great duality there. And in the end, Jaime is able to get through to Carapax about his wrongness, his undoings. Great final fight scene in that film altogether. Okay, splice this in with the other part. Don't let anyone see this part. Unless maybe let people see this part. Honestly, it's great. That said, I guess maybe this will finally wrap up this rather long review. I do apologize. It's a lot to say about this one. Yeah. Go ahead and comment down below. Please like and subscribe and all that jazz. And we'll catch y'all later. I'll see everyone.